touch, 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 touch. I could be your crush, 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 crush.
Okay, so firstly, Malaysia former Prime Minister that promotes new public management approach, who is Tun Dr. Mahathir bin Mohamad, our 7th Prime Minister of Malaysia. So the question is, what are the initiatives done by Tun Dr. Mahathir Mohamad? Okay, so firstly, the initiative done to promote new public management in Malaysia is, firstly, we have Look East policy, and secondly, privatisation. Firstly, what is the objective in Look East policy? Okay, so this initiative is for improvised management and development performance and create Malaysian community with positive values. So the program consists of two parts. Firstly, sending Malaysian students to Japanese universities and institutes of technology. Okay, and second, sending trainees to Japanese industry and training institutes. So when is Tun Dr. Mahathir announced Look East policy initiative? Okay, so he announced Look East policy after 6 months in his office to learn from the experiences, which is Japan and Korea in national building in Malaysia. Okay, so the next is Proton. This is the most famous project embarked upon during the Look East policy years was the formation of the first national car, which is the Proton car saga. Okay, so in order to implement the project, the National Car Company, Perusahaan Otomobil Nasional Sendirian Berhad Proton, was formed in 1983, and the project was first discussed in 1981, and within 19 months the manufacturing plant was already built. Okay, next is privatization. What is the definition of privatization? Privatization is the transfer of public sector activity and ownership to private hands together with the modalities to set up such as policies to achieve the designed goals. And it also involves transfer of not only ownership but also activities from government profit and non-profit organization. And the privatization policy was launched in the middle of 1983 during our former Prime Minister Tun Dr. Mahathir Mohamad, and the privatization policy is contradicted with the nationalisation, which is a process to bring ownership and control of a 1983 during our former Prime Minister Tun Dr. Mahathir Mohamad, and the privatization policy is contradicted with the nationalisation, which is a process to bring ownership and control of a nation for the government in the economy. So basically, privatization also involves some interest and investment of government into the private sector. So during our former Prime Minister Tun Dr. Mahathir Mohamad speech in the Securities Industry in Malaysia conference ceremony on 28 April 1984, Tun stated that government the world are notorious for inefficiency when running enterprises, even aided by monopoly and the authority of government.
East versus West. The first issue is Japan do not take risks. The Japanese economic market has very wide opportunities and has not been explored entirely by Malaysia. Careful Japanese attitude to choose a foreign investments have made their market difficult to penetrate by developed countries other and make the Japanese investment position always safe, secure and can extending a long period of time through Japanese protection policy. Next is exchange students' attitude became worse. The effect of sending students to Western countries does not bring good effect because after they return to Malaysia, it made them even more arrogant, want to share the expertise they have gained.
Issue regarding the initiative. Hi, I am here to share with you the next issue regarding the initiative, which is privatization made from Tun Dr. Mahathir. Privatization policy has received a lot of criticism. The criticism was received from both local and foreigner. Then talk glibly about cronyism and high toll rates. Like Tun Dr. Mahathir say that without privatizations, Malaysia's system expressway sport, power plant and telecommunication facility will just not be built. He added a number of private companies in Malaysia have failed due to the economic turmoil of 1997 and 1998. If the government have built infrastructure through government funding, it will have to wait until sufficient funds were available. Privatization have contributed much toward the country development. When this happened, well would not be enough on good infrastructure such as road and communication facilities.
Next is the solution regarding to the issue East versus West. Look as policy is the best step to emulate when compared to the look Western policy. Work ethic is the main of the strategies taken by Dr. Mahathir Mohamad by taking Japan and Korea as a model. This is because both of countries are very disciplined and hardworking in works compared to Western countries. Japan has proven that they have successfully competed with other developed countries through work ethic, technology and business. Dr. Mahathir thinks that emulating Western countries is a step backwards because they do not like a rivalry, so that the economic development also not very encouraging. However, Malaysia will not cut the relationship with Western countries but try to find a new direction with other countries. The example of changes that have made by Dr. Mahathir are: firstly is the structural changes, for example, walking time, recorded card or punch card. The second is the use of name tags. Secondly is the attitude changes, for example, clean, efficient and trustworthy concept, DCA. The second is leadership by example. Lastly is training and courses, for example, academic study. So, look as policy or DPT that introduced in 1982 by Dr. Mahathir is still relevant and should be continued by Malaysia nowadays to open the mind and divert the views of the people in Malaysia who are too obsessed with Western culture to make them become more innovative and productive people.
What solution can we do in dealing with financial issues in privatization policy? The first solution is strict control in matters of national expenditure. This means restricting spending on something that is not some important to the national interest. Besides that, the government is also taking steps to improve infrastructure facilities to move forward so that the private sector can be given comfort to continue to grow. The government is also directly trying to slow down so as not to interfere and get involved in the economic sector, which can threaten and create competition for the private sector. Attracting investors to invest in the country. In this way, the corporate sector will be more advanced and rapid. This is due to the efficient in producing a lot of output that is only through the use of minimal resources.
I can feel you for a rush, like hoping it takes me so